Oh, I'm pulling on my Velma sweater as we're going live. This is Heather from Heather's Long Box, and today's guest is Josh Nealis of Cutthroat Comics. And Josh is launching his Kickstarter for Turkey Sharks today. Have you gone live yet?
Yeah, went live at 5:30, so hour and a half ago.
And how nervous are you?
I'm not nervous. We set our goals low because I just I'm not trying to break the bank with my Kickstarters, or make my living off of them. But it's a good way to attract more fans and get some of the book, if not most of it, actually paid for instead of having to come out of my own pocket. So I set the goals low, and this is our third one, not counting we did a Tales of Shock and Terror. That was a book I published, but I didn't actually write. I edited it and helped those guys with it. So this is my third. I think we had like 25 backers on the first one. The last one we had 54. So my goal is to kind of double roughly every time we do one, and I'm fine with that type of growth.
I did participate in the second one. I wasn't familiar with your books when you had your first Kickstarter, and I was really surprised too. We had met up at Monroe Pop Fest, and you had said that you'd been there for like the last 5 years, and that was the first year that I got to talk with you because I was buying some comics from you.
Yeah, it's weird, when you get a friend request from somebody on Facebook or something like that, and you're like, who's this jagoff? And you look and you're like, oh, we have like 95 mutual friends. It's like, how have I never met this person or crossed paths with them, in any conversation or something? But maybe you and I have met before, and we just meet so many people that we've forgotten. Which for me, I try my best to remember everybody I meet, but it's tough when you do one or two cons a month and you speak to thousands of people every year, basically. But I do my best. I recognize faces typically, at least.
I do remember your banner. I do remember the Cutthroat Comics, and I think that I walked by because there's certain people that I'm friends with, and you want to show the support and the love when you go to the comic. Of course, I did some podcasting back in 2015 to 2018, took a break, and then I just started, this show, Heather's Long Box. So I might not have been seeking people out per se at that time, to come on a show.
Right. Yeah, there's our Kickstarter. I don't even know where we're at. We were at like 6 people last I saw. That's probably where we're still at. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good start. I think, for being live for an hour and a half. I mean, most people haven't even got the email yet, and as far as social media goes, I mean, they like to bury stuff like that when I post about it. So, but like I said, our goal is 500. I mean, the real goal is like over $3,000. That would be the real goal. But,
Right.
I'm hoping to eventually not have to come out of pocket up front on these things. That's why I use it more of as a pre-order type of deal. And there are stretch goals and stuff like that. But for us, and then we'd also do like our Kickstarter exclusive covers that you can only get through this Kickstarter. And we had one on each of the other ones too. And those have sold pretty well. So I mean, if you want to play the video, you can. It's I'm very what's the word I want to look for? Not cheap. Frugal. Yeah. So the last 2 Kickstarters, the video I've done, I make a TikTok and then I delete the TikTok and then I just use the TikTok as my video. So yeah, if you guys want to play it, you can. It's stupid.
I'm a bit of a pragmatic person too,
Yeah.
so I don't blame you. Free is always good.
Yeah.
Are we playing that or no? Yes. Okay. Oh my God.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Josh from Cutthroat Comics here, and we are back. Turkey Sharks number 3, and you can also get caught up on 1 and 2, and this Kickstarter is ready to roll. This is a fun one. Buddy is back, the Super Squirrel. He wasn't in the last one, but now he's in this one. So you're going to want to see what he's been up to. It's fun. It's funny. It's got some sadness. It's got some heart, but it's mostly friggin' ridiculous. So scroll our Kickstarter, take a look at a couple preview pages, and look at our 5 this time down front. Well, we had 4. Now we're on 5. 5 covers of this one. We got the Tyler J. Haddix cover, which is fantastic. It goes right along with the story. So it was too perfect not to do. We got our Jackass movie poster spoof cover done by Cristiano Reyna. We've got our Demon in a Bottle Iron Man homage cover. And that one also came out fantastic and also ties into the story. And then Seth the Moose, first time working for Cutthroat Comics. He did our A cover. And a little special for you guys, we got the Kickstarter exclusive, which is that cover, but it's Seth's original art. It's his black and white sketch cover, and that's going to be our Kickstarter exclusive, only available on this Kickstarter. After that, you will never be able to get it again, and I won't sell it to you, even if you trade me your mother, because she is beautiful. Check out the Kickstarter. Thank you for backing. Thank you for looking. Cutthroat Comics, Ohio's most offbeat publisher since 2015.
My mother is beautiful.
Handsome guy there. Yeah, I mean, we have 6 covers now because I did not know that we were going to do a virgin variant of Tyler's cover. He actually suggested it, and I was like, yeah, sure. So we did that. And actually, go ahead.
I did pledge, so I think that I'm
nice.
Getting all 6 covers. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
So,
I do have 1 and 2 with me today. I was just catching up before the show.
Yep, that's one on your right there. That's the Chris Mad cover of #1. That one actually won Cover of the Year for the Independent Creator Awards. So we were really, really surprised about that.
Congratulations to you and Chris.
Yep, Chris is awesome. I've never met him in real life, but when I have talked to him and we worked on that, I mean, he's an awesome dude and a phenomenal artist. But
he and I are Facebook friends. Yeah. I see his stuff, along with Steph Wilson. So he's always commenting on his stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have Steph working on a cover for me.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he seems to be very popular. I see his stuff all over the place.
Well, he's more. There is some. I was gonna say TNA, but then I'm like, oh no, there's more coochie. But no, there's some ass stuff. So yeah, he's. It kind of reminds me of Mad Comics, his style.
Yeah, it reminds me of like old Betty Boop.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that too.
That kind of stuff.
So it's popular, and he does a podcast show as well. So, are you friends with him on Facebook? You should.
Nope. I've never, I've seen the name, I've seen his work, but no, I've never met him or talked to him or anything. Actually, I wasn't even, I'm sure he gets this a lot. I didn't know if it was a man or a woman because I think the picture, or I don't know if it is or was, but it was him and a girl, I guess. I don't know if it's his wife.
Carrie Ann is his partner, and they work together. I'm not sure who does exactly what, if she does the coloring or whatnot. That still eludes me. It's funny. So on my one Facebook page, Heather Miles, which I tried to make a personal page, but not working out, I'm friends with him. And then on my HT Miles, which is supposed to be like my more professional page, I'm friends with her.
Okay.
So he does a podcast on Thursday nights. Great promoter of people's work as well. And just he's super excited, and his energy is contagious.
All right. Yeah, I mean, people like that are needed in the comic book community, I think. People that can be enthusiastic about what we're all trying to do and not be a naysayer and not step on other people's toes and talk behind people's backs and all that. I mean, that's one of the things when I started doing this, I said right straight up that I was not going to, do any drama. And I've done pretty well about staying out of it. Every now and then I'll get a message from somebody saying something about somebody else. I'm like, dude, I don't care. It's not, you tell them, I'm not getting in it. So
indie comics, I've always supported indie comics, and that was all about my my first podcast show as well. So, you can't hurt anybody by spreading the word of their projects. you know, when it comes to
Right.
indie. So,
Right.
and your other books will be available as well, so people can catch up.
Yep. And I've got, so you can get all, like every comic I've ever made, you can get in the add-ons and stuff like that. Except for, of course, the Kickstarter exclusives, because if you didn't hop on that, you're not getting them. So that's Seth DeMoose's cover. He knocked it out quick. I want to say he did it in I approached him, and then I want to say it was within 2 days. It might have even been the next day. He was like, "Hey, how about this?" And I was like, "Yes." So in this book, this is the first appearance of the Merciful Gang. So it's a concept. I actually had I had a MySpace page back in the day for the Merciful Gang, and it was just a joke that I came up with, and some of my friends, we goofed around about it. How it'd be funny if there was a gang, like a legit gang, but they were like nice. So they're like, a gang which is supposed to be this mean thing with territories and Crips and Bloods and all that. But I was like, what if they weren't that mean? So that's what these guys are. They're the Merciful Gang. The guy on the bottom is Norman Albert Guy. So he's like a normal guy. He's just a dude. If you swing around to the left there, the guy with the green with the glasses, that's Binge. So when he fights, all he does is ask you if you've seen TV shows. Above him is Switcheroo, which is a guy that desperately wants to be a kangaroo, and he has switchblades. Above him is Contrarian. So basically, if you're like, "Hey, let's go get pizza," he'll be like, "No, that sounds awful."
Okay.
And then Perdiddle is like a pirate, and then down below is the Tagger.
But
So,
a nice pirate.
Yep. And then the Tagger there, he's a teenager, and of course he spray paints on things, which is annoying, but he makes beautiful artwork. So you're like, well, I can't really be mad at this because it's beautiful.
And what inspired you to create that character? Because you're in Ohio, I'm in Michigan, I'm near
Right.
Detroit, and you're waiting for a train. You see a lot of spray paint and graffiti. That's actually beautiful art.
That's honestly probably where it came from. Really, so I have a team of like a Teen Titans kind of style thing, and eventually they're gonna meet up with this bad team, like it's gonna be their nemesis, like Teen Titans in the Hive or whatever. So I just kind of came up with enough characters to kind of fill out that and go against each of those characters. But that is even in, I want to say in my first novel, Stuffed Squirrels and Porcelain Angels, I think I talk about the guy is sitting at a train and it's going by and he's like admiring all the graffiti and stuff. And that's something, when I sit at a train and there's not graffiti, I'm like kind of disappointed. It's like, at least give me something to look at.
Right. So it's boring. I've actually seen a very beautiful Dolly Parton on the side of a train car.
The one that sticks out to me, it was like a whale. It was like a cartoony whale, but it was like lots of blues. I mean, it was amazing. I think this was before cell phones were around and stuff, but I remember thinking that was great. So that's our Jackass cover. That just came to me one day. I was like, I love Jackass, and I watch the Steve-O podcast all the time and stuff. So I thought that would be perfect for kind of how my characters are. We got Pedal Man hanging off the side there, and
I'm waiting for Krista to do her magic on the screen there. There you go.
That's a Cristiano did that cover, and I mean, he nailed it. I think that's from the first movie. I can't remember which movie that's from. I think it's the first one with the shopping cart. And then, so Ginger Avenger there in the books, he's actually kind of going down the alcoholic depression path. So I thought it was the perfect time to do this homage to Iron Man, like 168, 198. I can't remember which book it is.
I bought the Ginger Avenger from you at Monroe.
Yep, that's issue number 1. Yep. And
so he ties into Turkey Sharks.
Yeah. So Turkey Sharks is all of my characters from my comics, rolled into like an Avengers style. That book, I think, is the first time they're all in the same place.
So you really had you started with, one book, one series or one issue, but you always had a bigger picture.
Yeah, yeah. I've always had kind of a general idea of what I wanted to do. Um, a lot of comic book people, they start with one series and then they build off. I started with three. I don't know. Looking back, I should have started with one, but I started with Stingray, Pedo Man and Kid Friendly, and Ginger Avenger, and I did one issue of each, and then issue twos, and then issue threes, and then eventually I was like, man, this is like a lot to keep up on. So I was like, let's knock it down to one. And eventually it's going to be Turkey Sharks. And then eventually we're going to spring off into the Rascals, which is, again, my Teen Titans team, but that's coming down. I don't know when I'm going to do that. Whenever it's right with the story is when I'm going to do that.
Down the line, is there ever going to be like a graphic novel to, put all of the stories together, or
Like a
like
trade
the
or
yeah, or do you like the single issue stand,
Mm, I've thought about doing a trade, and I don't know, somewhere along the lines, I may do like an omnibus of like all the issues. So we're at like, this is my 12th comic by myself, and Cristiano's done the vast majority of the arts except for some of the variant covers. So yeah, yeah, at some point, I think mainly just because it's hard to carry all these comics and books and everything around with me to cons and stuff. Like
Mhm.
I definitely will phase out some of the older ones, but for now we'll keep selling them, basically.
And then I've noticed with a lot of Kickstarters, the variant covers are very popular. I contributed to one, and I had the hardest decision because I think there were like 20 variant covers.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know that I'll ever do that many. To each their own. People do things differently, and there's many ways. The path to success is not a straight line. I mean, there's many ways to get there. I don't really try to knock on other people, but this is just how I do it. I'm gonna have a few per book, because I mean, for me, not only am I managing, my own books, I'm starting to publish for other people. I write comics, I write novels as well. So I've always got one or two projects going on. So I don't have the time to just sit down on one series, hunt down 20 different artists to do variant covers. I can do two or three. If I get up to like 10, that would be probably the max I would do. But right now, if I can just get a couple new artists to work with me each time, like I'm totally happy with that.
I like how you did do that. I noticed from your Kickstarter, like from Turkey Sharks 2 to Turkey Sharks 3, you did pick a couple of different artists. For me, there's so many great. I can't draw a stick figure. So
Right.
for me, it's hard. Like there's so many great artists out there. There's so many great styles. It's hard to kind of decide. But I like how you have like not only the variant cover but a variety of different artists.
Yeah, it's I've been working with Cristiano for since 2015 now, and he's great. He's my guy. Um, but I do want to work with other artists, and tap into their fan base, and they get to tap into mine by working with me as well. It's a mutualism type of arrangement. But I love seeing my characters drawn by other people too, because I've seen them by Cristiano, and he's phenomenal. He's amazing. But it's cool to see, what Chris Mad did and what Brian Silverbacks did there, what Seth DeMoose did with our A cover. I mean, it's great. I love it.
I love Seth's style.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Seth since I think 2015, and he always uses the tagline, hashtag too cartoony, because
Cartoony, yep.
he received a letter one time, and that's what they said.
Yep.
But I don't think it's too cartoony. I mean, that's it's comics.
I love it. Yeah, when I showed Cristiano that, he loved it as well. He thought it was the best thing ever. So, and Tyler has his style too, because he's on both of the covers he's done for me. He's used like paint. I don't know anything about art, so I think he paints it. And this specifically, my kid was watching something on TV and that American Gothic painting popped up. And this happens in the story. Like those two go to a farm and he uses a pitchfork. And I was like, staring at me. I immediately, like, literally like 5 minutes later, I got a hold of Tyler and I was like, hey, I got something for you. And he was like, what is it? I told him and he was like, I'm in. So it's,
He does sketch things out and uses acrylic paint, and then I think he kind of sometimes uses like a mixed medium of like different pens and markers and stuff. But and he's experimented with some oil paint, some water-based oil paint. But I think for the most part, he's acrylic. Very much old school in that you're painting on canvas or on Bristol board rather than doing digital.
Yeah. All I know is he crushed it. I mean, when he sent this to me, because actually in my video where I say like Tyler's cover is amazing, I hadn't even seen it yet. I don't think he'd even started it yet. So I totally lied. But I knew, when you know an artist, they're going to kill it. And
well, he had already done one for you, and you were very pleased with that, correct?
Oh yeah. That Zebo is fantastic for issue 2. It's so funny. But this one, I mean, it looks so much like the American Gothic. I mean, he nailed it.
Oh, yeah, I just saw it when I looked at the Kickstarter, and I chuckled, and yeah, it is really on point. It is a cool cover. Are you still mad at me about the original for your last cover?
No, I was never mad, but I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like, man, I kind of hope nobody, because for those that don't know, Heather got the original art for the Zebo cover for number 2, and you got it quick too. I think you were like the first person. And I was kind of hoping nobody would buy it, because then I was going to buy it because I kind of wanted it. But no, I'm totally fine.
Why would you put it up on the Kickstarter if you wanted it?
It's one of those things where it's like, well, I need to make money on this. And actually, Chris Mad, he had the original art as well, and I think he sold it at MegaCon. So some guy down in, I assume the guy lives in Florida. I really don't know where the guy lives, but some guy's got that basic bitch and Zebo cover on his wall or somewhere. I guess I don't know what they've done with it, but to me as an artist, obviously a writer, but it's still cool to think that out there somewhere, somebody has, art that, I helped develop.
Well, they're your characters. I mean, those are your babies.
Yep. And somebody, people go over to his house and he's like, yeah, check this out, and it's like, that's amazing to me. It's just like, you look behind me. I mean, I got comics and, that's a Jesse Marks there. I think I haven't seen that guy in a long time. That's just a poster, but people did all this art, and it's up in my house. So to think that somewhere somebody's got, something that I made up in their house, I mean, that's amazing.
And how do you feel like when, do you have when you have an artist working for you, do you ask to see some sketches firsthand?
So I'm going to let everybody, and I think I've said this before, but so here's what I do. And if anybody is listening that is an artist, you might want to think about this. When I typically, if some people I've met just online, like Brian and Chris Matt, I met online. But people like Tyler and several other people, I meet them in real life at a con or something, and I'll see their art. If I like it, when I get home from the con, a day later, or whenever I get around to it, I'll shoot them a Facebook thing, or I'll follow them on Instagram or something like that. And I do that so I don't forget about them, because I meet so many artists. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because I know one day I'm going to have something for them. Okay. Now, if they don't follow me back or they don't accept my friend request, see you later. You're gone. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily an ego thing, but do you want me to give you money? It's like I've had artists that I've approached and, even said like, what are your rates? Okay, that's your rates. Cool. Here's what I want you to do. And then they never answer. And it's like, okay, so you don't want payment. Okay, that's cool.
No, I had an artist turn me down. He just said, I'm too busy with other projects. You're not the first person who's asked me to do a variant cover. So, I refer them to somebody else. And he's like, I'm sorry. I just, you know, I mean, the guy has contract with Marvel, so I can't blame him.
Well,
But I just love his style so much that,
yeah,
you know, for me, for someone to bring my characters to life and then you see that, it's just,
yeah, if they're too busy, that's one thing. I fully understand, and that's amazing. If that's that's a good problem to have if they're too busy. But when some of these people, it's like, and I've even had people agree, like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm totally going to do it, and then you never hear from them again. It's like, okay, well, fair enough, but you can't, I'm not going to twist anybody's arm to do a cover or do something else for me, because I've tried to do a few other comics, but you know. If you're trying to make it as an artist and you're trying to do that as your full-time job, like, you might want to accept some friend requests and follow people back, especially when you know that they own a publishing company. Like, yeah, I'm not Marvel or Image or anything like that. I hope to one day be, kind of the top tier, at least indies. That's the goal. But, a paid job is a paid job, and it's exposure and everything else. Oh, we got another one there. I don't know if that was you or if that was somebody else.
oh, Krista's waving her hand.
Oh,
So
thank
she's
you.
been checking it out too. I just, when an artist breathes life into your project, it's just like, maybe it's just me because I'm a girl. I get a little emotional, I get a little teary eyed, tears of joy.
It's fun. Like I said, I write novels and stuff too, and I do the covers for those, but they're not anything special. They're just photoshopped and whatnot. So this is a different experience. This is, when Cristiano sends me a page, typically he knows what I want more or less now. Every now and then, because he lives in Italy, there's like a little bit of a, miscommunication on what exactly I'm looking for. And, Turkey Sharks is at its core, it's got heart and stuff, but it's silly. I make a lot of references like Family Guy does and stuff. So there are references that he doesn't fully understand. So there's been a couple times where I have to, I'll send him a GIF of like somebody doing like whatever it is or whatever show. But
Yeah, what exactly is an armpit attack? Like, is the person getting stinked out, or is
yeah,
that like a wrestling move? What is the armpit attack?
that was just, well, that's Pedo Man. Pedo Man, he mostly uses wrestling moves, but yeah, he's just dumb. And I think that also isn't that the panel where he quotes DMX, I think, up in here, something like that. I can't remember.
Hey,
So,
you wrote the book.
yeah. Well, I've written 10
I'm teasing
novels
you.
and 12 books, but I'm pretty sure, I try to keep my jokes and stuff fairly current. So I think DMX had just passed away, and I try to insert the things I love in there as well. I love DMX, and I want to stay on that same page. Maybe the next panel down on the left is where he's giving somebody the sharpshooter, from Bret Hart. So I try to inject all that kind of fun stuff, that I grew up with in there as well. Some nostalgia and
Ooby Dooby's alien friends, are those like Oompa Loompas?
in a way, they've kind of become that a little bit. So Ooby Dooby, again, like I insert things I love. That's a CCR song. And back in 7th grade or 8th grade, me and my buddy would do this thing in math class. Instead of doing our math homework, we would pass the paper back and forth, and I would draw a line, and then he would draw a line, and so on until we came up with something. And we did this all the time. But one of the things he and I came up with these little creatures that lived underground in holes, and they had like 2 little legs and 2 little stubby arms with little antennas, and we called them the Ooby Doobies because we both liked that song. I listened to CCR a lot as a kid, and when I started doing these comics, I have tons of his and I's drawings from when we were kids, and every now and then I'll flip through them, and I found a drawing we did of the Ooby Doobies. So I got a hold of Cristiano. I said, "Hey man, we're gonna do Ooby Doobies," and he was like, "Oh, what?"
This is an American thing.
Yeah. So I drew one up again and sent it to him, and what he came up with is, I mean, 1,000 times better than what I could ever draw. I love those little guys. I actually approached somebody to do a cover with just them on it. I'm hoping to get that person in the future. Because they were busy and they couldn't do it. But they actually, unlike other people, were like, "Hey, I'm really busy. get a hold of me next time. We'll see if I can do it. So it's like, that's how you should do that. If you're busy, just, and you want to do it, you should say like, I definitely want to do this, just I can't right now. But yeah, and the Ooby Doobies specialize in fish cupcakes. So
I saw the cupcakes reference.
Yeah. They make, I think I call them bomb-ass cupcakes, I think is what they're called. But
somebody was complaining a lot less cupcakes.
Yep. So yeah, their planet was attacked, and now they live at Ray's underwater base. So they're kind of like the Oompa Loompas now. I have a plan for them in the future. It'll be cool.
And then you have an Amish guy with a unicorn.
Yep. Cristiano's favorite character, and I love him too, obviously, because I created him. I was driving through Amish country once for my day job, and I look over and there was an Amish guy. I can't remember if he was talking to another Amish guy or an Amish girl. And I just got to thinking, I was like, so on this cover here, the one with the unicorn. And I got to thinking, like, certainly there is an Amish guy that's gay, and how would they handle being gay in this, overly religious community? And I just thought it was a funny idea. And I was like, certainly nobody has ever made a gay Amish superhero. So I would imagine I'm first. So I'm the one that did that first. Hopefully,
I think those would be good odds.
Yeah. And what does every gay Amish guy needs? He needs his carriage. He needs his horse. And much like He-Man and Cringer, when he holds up his piece of wood and says "zippy doo," he turns into Blasphemer, and his horse turns into Harvey the unicorn.
And yeah, I kind of got the He-Man reference, and his carriage is not like a traditional Amish. It's not black at all.
Yeah, it is. It is before he turns. But
okay.
That changes too.
Yeah, I saw a white carriage that just, as a girl, I'm like, oh, it's kind of Cinderella-y.
A little bit, yeah. Cristiano had done that cover, and that's honestly, that's the A cover of issue 2, and that's one of my favorite covers. It's so bright, and the unicorn makes it pop, and it's got, I've kind of turned Blasphemer and Pedo Man into this buddy cop situation, so it's they're so funny together because Pedo Man is so ridiculous, but then Blasphemer's got this like naivete. It just works together, those two guys.
So those two characters have chemistry.
Oh yeah. They're best buds now. When Kid Friendly is off training the rascals, Pedo Man is entertained by Blasphemer. They play video games. They play beer pong. It's just they do all the things that I did.
Beer pong in your college days or those high school days, Josh?
Oh, I would play beer pong tonight if somebody wanted to.
I just wondered how early you started with the beer pong.
Whenever that became a thing, when did that start? I don't know. 2006, 7 was when that kind of came around as a thing. I don't know. I just remember I'd never done it, and then all of a sudden everybody was playing it. So
I was playing quarters in high school. So
quarters and volleyball, all those drinking games. I was actually pretty good at beer pong back in the day. I won a couple tournaments.
Oh, okay. Now, is that like a college course or?
No, I didn't go to college like as a college person. I went later. I was like 30. I think it was I was like 29, 30 when I went to college. So I missed out on all that, but I still did all the college stuff because here in Findlay there are 2 colleges, so we would go to parties all the time.
I didn't go away. I went to college. I didn't go away to college. So all my friends would come back, and they'd talk about how sick they got, and we'd be going to Canada together. On the weekends that they were in town. And I'm like, why would you brag about getting sick? I just didn't get that.
Right. Yeah, we went to Canada a couple times as well. It was okay.
But you talked about like in the book, the group of people, they went to college and then, after college, they went on with their lives. So, I thought maybe you had some great college stories.
No, not necessarily. It was just more, so Donnie specifically, who's the Ginger Avenger, he actually has a PhD in, I don't know, some kind of something that's fancy, archaeology or something, anthropology. And that's what led him to be in the Ginger Avenger. And then Pedo Man he starts off as kind of the dude from Office Space a little bit. Peter, he's kind of like him, kind of the plain, boring job, kind of mundane. And Ray went off and I've never decided if he went to college or not, but he kind of started a family, and then his wife dies in an accident, and he's kidnapped by aliens, and his daughter's left alone on the couch. She was like 1 or 2 at the time, so I mean, she didn't know how to get out of the house or feed herself, so she just died in the house without an adult there. So that lends some drama and heartbreak to his story. So he's very hungry for vengeance. And what would be, or at least I would think. So, they're different characters, but it's I think in Pedo Man, so Stingray 1 was first, and then Pedo Man and Kid Friendly 1 was second. I think I retconned it to where all 3 of them just happened to have been friends in high school and stuff. I thought that would, when they eventually came back around to being the Turkey Sharks, because like Donnie doesn't look anything like he used to since he's changed into the Gender Avenger. So when they found out, each of them was their own superhero, I thought that was kind of an interesting touch on it. I don't know. I'll let everybody else be the judge on if that's cool or not.
Well, but I mean, it's your story, and I'm sure that you're writing the story that you want, compared to trying to write a story that's going to, I'm going to write this to appeal to the fans. You're writing your heartfelt story.
Yeah, so I think it was like Stan Lee. I paraphrase. He said something along the lines of like, write a story that you want to read, and hope that people like it later. And I do that. I mean, hands down, that's what I do. If you look at not only my comics but my novels, it's all different things, and it's all got my own touch on it, my own take on whatever type of story it is. But I hope that when people read my books and comics, they will like it, and people seem to. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on everything I've written. So and I do a lot of different things. I don't ever just stick to one thing. I've written horror. I've written basically porn. The comics are comics, and I've written sci-fi and post-apocalyptic and suicide stories and romance and everything.
Did you write a like a self-help type book, or like a more true
I wrote
nonfiction?
I wrote it's kind of a self-help, but it's more of a guide. I call it a guide to a new beginning. It's Single Again, a guide to a new beginning. And it's for people going through divorce, and it kind of guides you through like, here's what's going to happen with court. Here's what I did. And here's what worked for me. Here's what dating is going to be like. Here's how to buy a house. Here's, what to look for when you're doing that, so on and so on. Here's how you should cope with things and feel about things. And it's and part of the proceeds from that one go to a nonprofit here in town called Open Arms, and they help people coming out of abusive relationships. So I wanted to turn my negative into a positive, and it hasn't sold a lot, because it's a very niche book. But I donate a couple bucks or whatever, to $1 or $2 from each sale to that organization.
That's really cool. Well, plus also, was the process of writing the book therapeutic for you?
It might have been, probably, but at that point, when you do what I do and what other people do, you're fairly public about what's going on in your life. Most of the people on my social media knew I was going through a divorce. I've never really said publicly what happened, or because that's my business.
Right.
But I would get people that would reach out to me, that I've known my whole life or whatever, and they would say, hey, I'm going through divorce too. What did you do here? And I mean, and that happened numerous times. So eventually I was like, why don't I just put this in a book and let it be out there? And that's what I did.
Hey, friend, you can't get my advice for free anymore. Buy my
Well,
book.
I think I agree a couple times, but it's
I'm teasing
I'll
you.
talk to anybody. It's and typically, if I see somebody is going through that, I will reach out. Like if I know them well enough, I'll be like, hey, if you need any, advice or questions, like feel free to reach out to me. I will lend whatever knowledge I have on it. Just I don't know, like a week ago, I talked to somebody who I found out was going through that, but I just wanted them to know that, they're not the only one that goes through that shit. So it's totally fine to reach out if you have questions.
And is like the process of your divorce, obviously you're in Ohio, so was the law different than compared to talking with other divorcees?
I don't think I've ever talked to anybody outside of Ohio. I think I did write in the book, like, this is in Ohio. This is what, their law was for a couple things. So, and I think I started it by saying, like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. Like, this is just my opinion. So take what you will from it. So I don't get sued. I didn't want to get sued.
Well, yeah, you gotta CYA, cover your ass.
Right.
So here on Heather's Long Box, we talk often about what's in your long box. So do you have a certain piece that is just like your trophy piece, or a certain piece that inspired you to start writing comics?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Oh, I don't know if I have it. I mean, I've got a 181 that's signed by Herb Trimpe. It's a 4.0. Is it CGC or CBCS? I can't remember which grading company is on it. That's probably like my most expensive book. I don't know if there's one that I just specifically love.
Well, is there something specific that you collect? Like, are you a Venom guy or a Spawn guy?
Yeah. So this wall behind me here is mostly Spider-Man. And out in my room over there, I've got an entire wall of X-Men. I've got an entire wall of Turtles. This wall over here is like Avengers and random Marvel stuff.
Nice. I like those shelves.
Yeah. Amazon. I forget who makes them, but they're pretty good shelves. Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of nostalgia. 80s, 90s toys and the characters. I spec a little bit on books, like I've got this one, Miles. The first Miles Morales is there. I hit on that one pretty good. I've got first Spider-Gwen is over here. I hit on that one pretty good. I don't plan on selling them, but I wanted to buy them low, and if ever something were to happen, then they're worth a lot more money now.
Well, you don't hide the fact that you have a child, you have a son.
Yep.
Who's his favorite character, and are you disappointed?
Who's your favorite character? He's sitting right here. So.
Hi.
Hi. I'm only wearing underwear, so I can only
he's only in his underwear. So.
Oh, my girls would run around in their underwear too, so no big deal.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Not for me, anyway.
Out there, like
anywhere, any of them.
I would say like probably the X-Men and Turtles and like Spider-Man and Venom. I can't choose.
Oh, so.
Those are my 3 first favorites.
No, all of them. All the same ones I just said.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Do you try to steal Dad's toys?
No.
No.
He's pretty good about that, honestly. Even when he was little, he knew like these are on the shelf for a reason.
Yeah.
So I don't think ever once he touched any of them really. So.
Yeah, never.
My girls are into anime, and they have told me that they're going to sell my Wonder Woman collection off. And I said, over my dead. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll be dead when you sell it.
Well, and honestly, that's part of the reason I collect the way I do. I've got tons of books that I'm hoping to send off for grading. And like I said, I spec on books. I'm going to start selling a little bit. I sold some books to you to hopefully pay for some of my habit, because that's what it is. It's not a hobby, it's a habit.
I feel a little guilty because you sold me a George Perez cover. I don't know if you realized.
Wonder Woman #1, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, I knew it was there.
Okay.
Yep. Nope. And I bought a collection, and I've still got 35-40% of it. I've made plenty of money off of it, but my goal when I bought that collection was to get them out in the world and get them in the hands of collectors and not break the bank. Because I hate when you're trying to get a book you want and people are charging outrageous amounts of money and that's not what it's worth. But
She-Hulk #1. It's the piece I don't have yet.
You know what? I had an opportunity to buy 2 of those for like $40 each a couple years ago, and I didn't do it. And I think at the time I was like, I don't have $80 to spend right now. I was maybe in between projects or something, and I knew it. And as soon as they announced She-Hulk, I've never forgotten that I passed on that, and I knew it. I was like, I should have bought those.
I have a #1 that's signed and that's hanging on my wall. But that particular sensational She-Hulk is from the 80s, and I wanted that piece before the show came out, before I even knew the show was going to come out. Mm-hmm. But the pieces that I found one for $86, but they had so much water damage.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too familiar with like the pressing and the cleaning process and stuff, so I didn't risk it. But I do have a 1972 Archie series that has Sabrina in it, so I think that it's worth having it pressed. The spine's a little bit out of alignment. I just don't know a good presser.
Yeah, and I just got a CBCS order last night that I've been waiting for 16 months to come in, and it got pressed. And I don't know, how good or bad they did with it, but it took a long time. So I mean, there are pressers out there. I'm trying to remember if I know any offhand. I can't think of any names, but I know they're out there.
Yeah. Well, I really hate to do this to you, you being in Ohio and I'm in Michigan, but so we have a wild cherry, a black cherry Vernors here. And can you even get Vernors in Ohio?
Yeah, I think so. I don't like Vernors. So I'm actually originally from Kentucky. That's where I spent a lot of my childhood. My dad's side of the family is from there. There's a pop there called Ale 8. So I don't know if you've ever had it, but
no, and my family's from Paducah, Kentucky.
Okay, so if next time you go, get an Ale 8, and they sell it here now too. It's like a family-owned business. And I think the next generation has recently taken over, so they've expanded. Because for a long time it was just in Kentucky, but you can get it most places now. It's like Vernors if Vernors was like good.
Oh my God! Next time I see you, buddy, this is Michigan medicine right here. The regular ginger ale Vernors.
Yeah.
So I'm opening this one because I have yet to taste the black cherry.
I want to say I was 17 or 18 the first time I ever had a Vernors, and it was in the pop machine at my job. And I remember seeing it said ginger ale, and I was like, oh, I like Ale 8 a lot. I was like, I wonder if this tastes anything like it. So I got it for like 50 cents or whatever, and I popped it open. I took like one drink, and I was like, this tastes like Vaseline, and I've never drinking another one. Like, I won't do it.
Vaseline?
That's I remember thinking that's exactly what it tasted like.
Like it tastes like petroleum jelly.
Yeah, that's what I tasted. So I don't believe I've ever tried another one. I may have had like a drink or something that was mixed with Vernors or something once, but it's Ale 8 is, it's amazing. You gotta try it.
I'll look for it. But the black cherry is almost got like a cream soda based, almost like kind of like a Faygo, not quite a Rock and Rye.
Yeah.
And it's not too bad.
Yeah, I'd check your Walmart to see if they have that. It's Ale 8.
Huh?
Oh, he's a fan of it.
Oh, Varian's a fan. So I brought a 12-pack. Is that the first time you tried it? Mm-hmm. Well, help yourself because I don't need a bunch of pop. So if you want to take some cans, I wanted to try one. I was at Meijer, the grocery store, and so I picked up a 12-pack today. So
that black cherry Vaseline down your gullet.
Maybe they'll just make me poop really well, Josh. my God. Oh. I have to tell you, I burst out laughing when your character threatened to make a thong out of your squirrel's tail. That was a great line.
That sounds like something I would write. I don't remember the panel offhand, but was it Redneck Ninja that said that?
This is the bad guy, the bad alien.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think, okay, I remember that. That was in Turkey Sharks 1, I think.
Josh got another backer.
Hey, all right, moving up in the world.
Look at that, Chris is keeping track for you.
Yeah, just if you want to go ahead and take over my socials and post all this, that'd be fantastic. Because oh my God, it's so tedious.
I handled like 10 of them.
Yeah, it's so just going and posting every day about this and that. It takes a lot. It takes only a couple minutes per or whatever, but it's like a lot when you're trying to remember, like, okay, post it here and there and then there and then here and then there and then make a TikTok and then put that TikTok on this one. And it's just.
When Krista did her book, Lure, she not only did Kickstarter platform, but she also did Indiegogo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people do that, do that afterwards. I just, because I run this whole company by myself.
I'm sorry?
I did Indiegogo first, then Kickstarter.
Oh, so you had time in between. You didn't do them simultaneously. You did Indiegogo first and then Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it the reverse of how people do it.
Yeah, I think most people do one and then the other. I'm not jumping into that arena just yet. Maybe one of these days, if I can hire some helping hands around here when my kid is old enough to actually like contribute around here instead of just eating all my muffins.
Yeah. It's a good one. It was delicious.
How well did you do yesterday? Did he make out like a bandit yesterday?
Oh, trick or treat. Trick or treat was on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you do good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but my cousin got more than me.
Oh, his cousin got more than him.
He got one piece more.
By one piece?
Yes.
You sat there and you counted?
Yeah, I didn't get to take him this year because it ended up when I take him, I'll take him to my hometown if it's on a different day. But this year it fell on, they both were at the same day, so it was
I went back to my old neighborhood, when my girls were younger, and I don't know why my mom decided to make sloppy joes as a traditional dish for Halloween. It's like, we're in our costumes. Why would you feed us sloppy joe?
Right, get it all over you.
But that was my mom's thing, and so we always went back to the old neighborhood and saw like all my friends' parents and stuff like that. So I grew up in a small town. Well, I actually grew on an island, so I understand about going home. Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of my family lives in my hometown anymore. I have a couple friends, but I don't really go back I don't go there to visit my family, so I don't really see my friends that live there that much anymore either, which
no homecoming or anything?
What's that?
You don't go to like homecoming game or anything?
No, not really. I mean, I could, I suppose. Well, typically I have him on Friday nights, and I'm always so busy doing all this stuff and trying to get things done. And he and I, when he's good, we do a new to him movie on Friday nights. So right around 7:30, we'll get in bed and I'll put on a movie from my childhood that he needs to watch. So, we've done like The Sandlot. We just got done watching all 3 Ghostbusters.
Have you done Gremlins yet?
We tried Gremlins a couple years ago and it scared him, so we had to turn that one off.
My daughter.
So here's one movie I never watched that I never want to watch. That I've never watched before. That I never want to watch.
What is it?
Monster House.
Oh, Monster House.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm too scared of that movie. I'm too scared of that.
I'm too scared.
It was pretty scary. Like the old man, he was really scary, but I liked that Kathleen Turner did the voice of the house.
Mm-hmm. I saw it once, like years and years ago, before he was even born, I think. So it was all right.
I think I own the DVD somewhere. I gotta.
Yeah, we have it. He's never watched it. I think I put it on once, and he was like, "No."
Yeah.
My daughter's 16 and she still doesn't like Gremlins. And then my older one, she just laughed. She's like, "This is what you grew up with?" She goes, "How pathetic."
Yeah, we may try to watch Gremlins this Christmas.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, you need to watch.
Don't you dare. Well, you could always do the National Lampoon.
Yeah, I always watch.
movies.
Oh, we got another one. Nice.
Oh,
Thanks
nice.
everybody. If you're watching and you know, they were almost halfway there, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
That would be so awesome if you reached your goal within the first 24 hours. Yeah.
I mean, what last time because of you specifically, we got there in 45 minutes, so that was pretty awesome.
You're welcome.
Yep.
I was glad to contribute. And I did look and I didn't see that you really had any big tiers this year. You did have something specifically for retailers.
Yeah, I do. I did a retailer on all of them. I have like a catch-up package, basically. I think we've had a couple retailers jump on that, and I try to keep my prices fair. And again, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or say that they're wrong, but for me, I want to move books. I want people to get my books for a reasonable price, because it's not about making money. Yes, that would be nice, but for me, I just want my art and my ideas and my silliness and all that out in the world. I would prefer to make money on the back end down the road, but
And
right
that's what it's about, is getting your story out, getting it into people's hands so that,
Yep.
they can read your story.
Yep. I care more about reaching people and getting my ideas and silliness into their heads than I do about making money. And however far this company goes, that will always be a staple of it. When you look at the Tales of Shock and Terror Kickstarter that we did, I made sure those guys understood that this is how Cutthroat Comics operates. We're not here to make a killing. Yes, we want to eventually, I'd love to do this as my real job, but for now, we're about getting the word out, getting books in people's hands. That's more important, and building that audience and that fan base. That's more important than making an extra couple $100 by charging a little extra. So I try to keep my prices very fair. I don't even think I would consider them competitive, because I think I'm way under most people.
When it comes to, publishing yourself, private publishing, and, I've looked at publishers, I've talked to other creators, and, there are times where you pay $25 for a book, or you pay $40 for a set, or even higher. And when you're trying to get your own project out, you kind of have to scale back, and it's like, I just can't do $150 anymore. I love contributing to Kickstarters. I love helping people get the word out about their stories. And, I know that I don't have the following or an audience to do a Kickstarter. So my first book, I'll be publishing and I've already paid like a lot of my artists just, out of pocket and everything. So,
That's how I started too.
yeah. You want to, you pay your artists up front, and you make sure that your artists are satisfied.
Yep.
I think that's real important.
It is. Without the artists, as writers, we can't do this really. So it's important to give them the credit. It's important to take care of them. Like Cristiano, for instance, he colored Seth's page, Seth's cover. Cristiano colored it. And, I told Cristiano up front, I was like, hey, I'm going to have you color this, but I'm going to give you the full page rate, so I can't help him a lot. I'm not super rich or anything, but I can help him out here and there. And he was very grateful. And that's all I care about, is that we're both happy.
And that's good, because, you're not done telling your story. You're going to have, another book coming out, and you want to keep that artist happy. I don't blame you there at all.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, he's without Cristiano, I wouldn't be where I am with this company. I'd probably still be just doing novels, which is great. I love doing those too, those are fulfilling in their own way. But I think comics they're an easier sell because they're a quicker read. Although my novels do sell pretty damn well too. I can't complain about that.
I'm a book reader, and I tried to sit down and write my own novel, and I found it very, very tedious. But I think that what you and I see, especially when we go to Comic Cons, is people who the artwork is catching their eye first. And you don't want to judge a book by its cover, but really, what do we all do? We look at that cover, we judge that book.
Yep. That's whether it's a novel or whatever, and specifically comics. Again, I'm not trying to talk smack about anybody, but I do see a lot of comic people. They neglect to be creative with their covers. If you got your characters just standing around, that's great, but you need to understand that somebody walking up to your table does not know these characters. They have no attachment to those characters. So when you're doing your covers, you need to knock it out of the park. You need to be interesting. You need to be overly creative. What is separating your covers from everybody else's covers? And there are some great ones. Ethereal does really good with their covers a lot. Rob Multari does fantastic with his covers. I mean, and it's about selecting your artists as well. But covers are what gets people to your booth, more or less. It's you can see them walk by and you see it catch their eye, and then it's your job to bring them over and figure out what they were looking at. But I think a lot of artists or a lot of writers and artists, they'll knock a cover out and be good with it. But you need to take that creative thing, whatever it is, and expand upon it. Make it extra. I did a little TikTok the other day about, make it more dynamic, make it more intense, make it more interesting, make it more ridiculous. Whatever your idea for your story and specifically your cover art is, take it up a notch, because that's your end.
I'll have to watch that TikTok video and maybe you and I will talk privately, because I would appreciate another creator's input.
Yeah, it's for instance, that Chris Mad cover, that one indie comic cover of the year. When I approached him, he said, "What do you want me to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like literally 5 minutes of thinking of it. I was like, "Hey, what if you did this?" So I one of the things I like is when a cover is something that happens off panel. So it's in the story, but it happened where the viewer can't see it. And that's
so you're not necessarily tying like sometimes your cover artist is different than your interior artist, but like you see the cover, that scene is not specifically in one of the panels.
Yeah, it's not specifically there, but it happened over there, kind of.
Okay.
I like when, and if you start watching like comic covers, you'll notice that some of the big guys do that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, that happened over here. So that one specifically, I was like, hey, what if, because that book introduces those two characters. And I was like, later in Turkey Sharks 1, she is fighting with her pumpkin spice latte. And I was like, well, she had to get it, right? So what if we show her having got her latte, and Zebo, the drunk homeless robot, is passed out in front of the coffee shop and she's flipping a coin into his little mug. And Chris took my creative idea and he expanded on it, made it better, and look what happened. Cover of the year. Boom.
How much background do you expect or do you think about? Because background seems to be a running joke with me and several artists.
Yeah, I've seen that joke before. It depends on what the idea is. It's for instance, like Seth's. I had said, something in the background would be cool, and what he did was totally fine, totally adequate. I think I had pitched like party streamers and like candy or something like that. But I mean, what he did is totally fine, and it worked out great. I like to let the artist be the artist. I will facilitate an idea, and they can run with it. Or sometimes they have their, typically when I get a hold of an artist, I'll say, I got this book. Here's what it's about. Here's the characters. do you have any ideas? And I'll let them see a few pages or whatever, or wherever they need to see. If they have an idea, great. If not, they might say, well, what do you want me to do? So, every artist is different. Sometimes they need direction. Sometimes something sparks for them. With Chris, I gave him the idea and he ran with it. With Seth, I said, hey, I'd love to have the Merciful Gang on the cover. This is their first appearance. And I think that's also something that's cool too. If it's a first appearance of a character, you want that character on the cover a lot, for certain reasons. It's always good. You think about Hulk 181, who's on the cover? Wolverine.
Yeah, well, like a key, when you introduce a character, it's a kind of key.
The best keys, and the ones that are typically worth the most, is a first appearance with that character on the cover. I got Punisher right down here. He's on the cover. Miles Morales on the cover. This one here is signed by my dude Matt Horick, who worked on this book. It's the first appearance of Punisher in the War Machine suit. Spider-Ham on the cover, black suit, Spider-Man on the cover. I mean, those are the best ones. So that's something to look at too. If you're introducing a character, throw them on the cover too. So yeah, covers are very important to me. I try to make sure that we're doing really, really dynamic and interesting covers. Because that's what you see. That's the first thing you see.
Yes.
The story is important too, but you got to nail that cover first, because that's the first thing they see.
That's what people see. You don't always have the opportunity to do that elevator pitch that Errol Jones talked to me about. Arvel Jones, said you have to have, less than 2 minutes. You have to have your elevator pitch.
So I've been handed a note. My son wants to talk about Tornado Kid, who is his character that is in Ginger Avenger 3 and Turkey Sharks 1 that he created. And he wants people to know that his character is also in these books.
Yeah.
Well, Underran Man, why don't you tell me about Tornado Kid?
Here, put the blanket on and come over here. Here. Sit down next to me.
Hi.
Hi.
Tell her about Tornado Kid. What's your pitch?
Well, Tornado Kid is kind of like a very good superhero. Like, in his team, he's the second leader. And, well, I've been told my dad that in one of the comics that he's in, he should make Tornado Kid do his ultimate move. Him being a tornado while like doing this move with both hands like that, him being still in a tornado and lots of bad guys around him while shooting his laser eyes.
So is it like his signature move?
It's like his ultimate move. Like
His ultimate?
He's like fighting like a lot of bad guys solo.
Okay. So he's taking on more than one bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if it's one bad guy, he just punches them away.
So who came up with the idea of Tornado Kid?
Well, I helped my dad with that character. He asked me, what did you ask me again?
Just one day he was talking about Tornado Kid, so I Googled it and there wasn't one, so I knew he came up with it on his own. And we sat down, and before we did issue 3 of Ginger Avenger, I said, what will his helmet look like? What will his shirt look like? What will his boots, his pants, his gloves, all that look like? And I copied pictures off Google, sent it to Cristiano, as I do when we're creating a character, and Cristiano drew it up, and that was Tornado Kid. So I mean, ultimately, it's fully his creation, even his power set and everything.
Yeah, and here's one thing I've told my dad a bunch. I want one of the comics he's in for him to take off his helmet finally, and it'll look like me.
You want
A face reveal is what you want.
Yeah.
Big time face reveal.
Exactly like me, right here, me.
We'll see.
Cause like I want that because I created him. I came up with on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my dad just worked on what he would look like. Like I told him that like his helmet would look like one of the Captain America helmets.
So you designed him. So are you secretly Tornado Kid?
Oh,
Are you sure you don't spin around your room causing a tornado, making a mess?
oh yeah. I forgot.
Sometimes.
What?
Sometimes.
What do you mean?
Yeah. All right.
Well, then what's your superpower?
Just chillaxing and reading books.
Yeah.
Not scarfing down snacks?
And that too.
Have you beat the pants off Dad yet on those games that you play?
No.
He's beat me a couple times on some of the fighting games. Every now and again when I'm like messing around, but.
Oh, he sucker punches you?
Yeah. You've never won like a full round. So,
But I have beat you a bunch.
yeah, every now and then.
And one time, when me and my dad were at the old house, we were playing baseball, and I think I beat him.
No, you never beat me in that one.
Yeah, baseball's pretty hard.
It was like a Atari game or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, like you're kind of like Pac-Man, but like it's 2-player, and like you can like sneak around like walls and like sneak up on people and like shoot a ball from your face. Like it's literally in the name.
Well, you still have time. You know, you can just get your practice time in. You'll beat his pants off one day.
One of these days.
Yeah. And you should like Google up Tornado Kid what he looks like. He looks amazing.
I don't think you could find him on Google, but she has the books. She's seen it.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, my daughter and we wrote a book called Thunder Girl, but we never did anything with it.
Is that kind of like Thundercats?
Mm-hmm.
Because it has the word thunder.
It was more like Ladybug Girl.
Oh, okay. Like Ladybug a little bit.
Well, so how long is the campaign going to run for?
December 1st at 5:30, I believe. So yeah, it's like 30 days or 31 days, however many days this month has. I can never keep track of that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, last time, I forget what we got. I would love to hit $2,000 on this one. That would be stellar. So we'll see how far we get. Like I said, we doubled from 1 to 2. So if we can double again, that would be fantastic.
It's a great goal, and you know, it's not impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's a very realistic goal.
Yeah. You know, I see a lot of my friends, and you know, they've got 200-300 backers and stuff like that, and I mean, that would be great. But oh my God, that like, it doesn't give me anxiety, but I just think of the amount of work with packing and shipping and all that. It's like, oh my God, that would be awful. Now I would do it if we did it, but geez, that's insane, you know, and good for them. Like I said, you know, I watched my buddy Rob Maltari. He's really taken over the Kickstarter thing. He's doing great with it. And if you've not checked out his books, you absolutely should. Ed Davis was on the other day on Indie Volt. I think he's doing pretty good with his as well.
Krista's nodding her head yes, and she's gonna like either like start banging or she's gonna give herself whiplash. She's like over there nodding her head yes to everything you're saying.
Yeah. Rob is he's a really, really good dude. I told him I don't know, a couple months ago or about a month ago, I was like, dude, I'm like super proud of how far he's come, and you know, I'm watching, you know, you watch what other people do and see what type of success they're having and how they're doing it, and you try to kind of emulate it in your own way. And
it's a learning curve.
Yeah, I was never gonna do a Kickstarter, but I saw he was having success with it, so I was like, well, I might as well jump in, and here we are.
Yeah, and you're like a natural making all these videos on TikTok.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of followers on TikTok, but my videos typically get plenty of likes and views and stuff for the most part. Every now and then TikTok will be like, whoa, buddy, slow down there. But I've had a few hit quite a few views and stuff. So
I am on TikTok, but I've never made a TikTok video in my life.
No, yeah, it's kind of all right, honestly. I like it because it reminds me of Vine a little bit. I really liked that platform, but it just never really took off.
Shut up. Okay, there we go.
TikTok, it always just goes.
Yeah. So are you under your name?
Yeah, it's under Cutthroat Comics.
Oh, okay.
You might already follow me. I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm not really the stalker type. Yeah, it says we're friends. Oh, okay. You're talking. Oh, there goes the music again. Okay, well, I think Krista and Marion had enough, and I thank you for joining me. And bug your friend Rob; he should come on my show.
Yeah, I'll tell him. Yeah, we're doing one of his books is going to be a stretch goal for this. I don't know if he told me which one he was going to do, but that one and Tales of Shock and Terror by Justin Bussell and Ron Perty and Chuck are also going to be a stretch goal. I got to work all that stuff out. So, we're not quite at stretch goals yet. We just started. So,
well, I look forward to seeing them. After all, I've already contributed. So,
yep, and I appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough for everything you do, not just for me, but for the community. I know, you probably don't honestly hear it enough how much we appreciate people like you guys who are, you guys are also creators, but you're fans and you host this kind of thing and give us a platform to talk. And it's important and it's awesome.
Thank you.
Everywhere.
Huh?
I shared his book everywhere.
Oh, you shared his book everywhere? Yeah. I don't hear anything. I'm a little mushroom. I'm just like fed shit and kept in there. Oh, your son's right there.
Oh, you're fine. He hears plenty.
Well, my kids hear plenty too. My first word only rhymed with truck. You can ask my mother.
No, his was ball. So, same thing.
BLL.
Well, thanks again for joining me tonight, Josh.
Absolutely.
And good luck with the Kickstarter.
Thank you. Hey, you're my first stop. So, you got a lot more going on too.
And the Kickstarter is amazing. I know the cover. I've seen it.
Yep.
Well, I've seen the covers.
You saw them before most people, huh?
Which one's your favorite?
Which one do you like the best?
You
don't remember now.
The jackbutt.
Oh, the jackass one.
Okay, he's censoring himself already. Okay, well, I'm going to say good night and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.